He was a minister, a poet, a lover of words and freedom. He was a family man, a talented speaker, a seeker of truth and justice. He missed every sharing he fed, and by the time he went home to the Lord, he was already an American icon. He was Martin Luther King Jr., and this is his story. He was born Michael Luther King Jr., that had his name changed to Martin later in life. He was the middle child of Michael Luther King Jr. and Alberta Williams King. His grandfather and father were the pastor of the Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta. The family legacy served there since 1914 and from 1950 until his death. Martin Luther King Jr. acted as co-pastor alongside his father. Martin attended segregated public school in Georgia, graduating from high school at the age of 15 after skipping 2 grades. He was a talented young man, receiving his Bachelor of Arts degree in 1948 from Morehouse College, a distinguished institution in Atlanta, with both his father and grandfather graduated from. After 3 years of theological study at Closer Theological Seminary, which he was also selected the president of, he was awarded bachelor's certificate in 1951. He then enrolled graduate study at Boston University and received his PhD in 1955. In Boston, he also met and married Coretta Scott, an intellectual and aesthetic young woman. They bore 2 sons and 2 daughters.
In 1954, Martin Luther King Jr. became pastor at the Dexter Avenue Baptist Church in Montgomery, Alabama. He was a strong advocate for civil rights in the Black community. He held a position in the executive committee of the NAACP, the leading civil rights advocate at that time. As a member, one of his tasks was to organize the first great civil rights protest ever to occur in the United States contemporary history. This was a 382-day-long bus boycott in Montgomery, Alabama. For at that time, people of different races were not allowed to ride in the same sections of the bus, and sometimes not even on the same buses at all. The boycott will prove to be quite effective, for on December 21, 1956, the Supreme Court of the United States declared unconstitutional all the laws requiring segregation on buses. During this boycott, King was arrested. His home was bombed. He was subject to personal abuse. But at that time, he emerged as a hero in the civil rights community. Martin Luther King Jr. is not just famous, however, for his I Have a Dream speech. What is the most outstanding is his based on his entire model for nonviolent movement on his experience as a Christian minister. He led massive protests that topped the attention of the entire world, all stemming from his belief that all men are created equal under God.
Before a crowd of nearly 250,000 people, he made a proclamation, and that proclamation was that we should not be judged by the color of our skin, but later by the content of our character. And his character was one of greatness, one that will be remembered in the history books as a man beyond reproach, a man who received that Nobel Peace Prize at the age of 35, a man who was given distinguished honors from leaders all over the world, a champion for the rights of those who have none. Would that he were with us today. But alas, it is not so. A sniper ends his life in April 4, 1968, as he was standing on the balcony of his motel room in Memphis, Tennessee. But though the man died that time, his legacy lives on. It's like on the hearts of those who are like-minded. His followers seeking to equality, not the fraudulent equality that puts one above another, but actually color-born equality, and one that values each person as a child of God, and his children have got ourselves. We must do all that we can to make sure that his dream is upheld, and his legacy is not forgotten. That we too many joy on the triumphant day in saying free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last.